So this all-new 3-row luxury full-size SUV next to me is the 2023 Yukon Denali Ultimate. And today we're going to try to answer the question of just why you would pay so much for a vehicle like this. Why do you need a vehicle like this? I think it might be worth it in today's video to start with the price of the vehicle. This is worth $117,000 as tested. It's almost like you have to take out another mortgage just to be able to afford one of these things. But let's look at what powers this absolute unit. We have a 6.2 liter Ecotec 3 V8 engine that does 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. It's got enough power to get you where you want to go, pretty much. But to justify the price, well, I just don't know yet. So let's take a full tour around the vehicle. Then I'm going to tell you some features that this special Yukon Denali Ultimate has, and then we'll take it on a test drive in case you're in the market for one of these big boys. So onto the front of the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate, you have these really nice headlights, the C-shaped, again like we saw on the Terrain. Lots of GM products have these headlights as well as the tail lights as well. Very nice though, a little bit of fake vents, but that's okay. I love the Vader chrome, and I love how much of it that you get on the front here. Blacked out GMC badge. Usually you're used to seeing the red ones, and when Niall reviewed this car, it was a red and like a lot of just normal chrome here on the front. This time it's blacked out. I'm in love with it. It's called Vader chrome, and I love that. You know, if Darth Vader was to have a car, then I think this would be it, because the chrome is named after him. More Vader chrome on the bottom, but the bottom chrome in the daytime, especially with the sun out, looks like normal chrome, but I assure you it is not. It's just a really nice and massive looking front end. I love it. There's nothing wrong to say with it. It's got a whole bunch of sensors, front-facing camera, and just everything standard that you'd expect from a vehicle that is this expensive. So taking a look at the back of the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate, you can see that we have some nice blacked out GMC badging, just like on the front, and then we have that Vader chrome again. I love the Vader chrome. Keep doing this, please, GM. It's so nice. The taillights look very nice too. Reminds me a lot of the Terrain. A lot of other GM products have these same looking taillights. A quad exhaust, not a very loud exhaust. It's not a very fast, powerful engine or anything, so it's okay. It's very subtle. The whole thing is just very subtle here. Moving up a little bit more, massive rear window, and then under here you can't see it tucked up exactly where it should be because GM tests their stuff in the winter, so our rear wiper is right up here, and I love that because it's not going to get weighed down by snow. It is not going to break by snow. It could break, but not by snow. We also have a backup camera, some sensors too for the 360-degree camera that the car has, and also you have a secondary camera for the digital rear view mirror. Now let me pop open this trunk. There you go. And I have my gloves on, so the contact wasn't there. But there you go. Of course, it's automatic, $117,000. It has to be. We have nice GMC badging here on the chrome, and it's like a nice thing, kind of protects the plastic. It's hard metal. Then you also have, I got this windshield washer thing here. We can go up here, have a little bit of storage. It's not very much, but again, the vehicle lowers itself because it has air suspension, so I can sit here too. I can lean here too. We also have some controls back here that can, you know, fold down the seats. Hold it. Come on. There we go. Oh, it didn't fold the headrest down, so there you go. So the side profile of the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate, nice Denali badging, and I actually noticed that it's Vader chrome in the front, Vader chrome in the back, but then you have normal chrome here. I'm not sure why they did that, but I'm pretty sure it's easy enough to just add your own Vader light chrome here if you wanted to completely black everything out. Nice GMC badging in the front there, and then you also have some 22-inch mags, 22-inch wheels, rims, what do you want to call them. Very nice GMC logo in the middle, and they look good when they spin. They look good stationary. It just looks classy on the side, but subtle. It's not like blow your face off, in your face, anything, especially with the black. It's just very, very subtle, and I think that's why you buy a Yukon Denali versus something like an Escalade, because the Escalade's probably a little bit more in your face and flashy. We also have a camera on the side view mirror there, and it's also a massive side view mirror. You can see pretty much everything. And then we have one-touch unlock and lock doors on all 4 doors. I love that GMC does this. They do it on a lot of their cars. They've continued that, of course, for the Yukon, and I love that. Thank you, GM, for thinking about the winter folk, because we want to unlock every door by just walking up and not having to actually touch the front. From the shots here, you might not notice, but when I take a look at the interior and I open up this door, it presents itself. That step presents itself, and we'll go back in. But let's take a look. If you follow me in here, inside of the GMC Yukon Denali. We have nice open wood here for the rear. Very, very nice stitching. Like, it's like baseball glove quality. We can hop in here. I can sit in this seat. Bang, I got a nice screen. The only thing is it doesn't have Netflix or Hulu built in or anything like that. It's really, you have to plug your own stuff in. That's a little bit unfortunate. I've seen some of it in the States that maybe you do have the functionality of Netflix built in. That would be cool. So we've got some climate controls here. Very basic. Heated seats, no cooled, but I don't care. Then you have your inputs. You have USB-C and then the HDMI for each side. You can either have both screens display the same thing or one screen and one screen. So you can basically have two consoles in here and you could have a little LAN party while you're on your road trip. That's why I say this car is very much worth the money if you're going to take road trips with it. I have some small armrests that can go down. This one also comes down, so you kind of have, I am so comfortable right here. This car is one of those ones that it's as nice to drive as it is to be driven in, and we love that. We have a nice big sunroof. The only downside is when you're in the third row, yes, there's a whole bunch of room in the third row, but you kind of, it's just all black back here. There's nothing. And there's the window, because the side pillar here is so massive, the window, you kind of have to crank your neck to see the third row. But the third row has so much room. The adults that fit back there, I've had some adults this week fit back there with not much problem at all. So in the front seat now of the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate, my favorite place to be. It is a fun car to get driven in, but I love to drive them, so no problem for me there. Let's start off though with the steering wheel, where it's nicely leather wrapped. I don't know why I expected it to be bigger. It feels on the smaller side. It could be just a me thing. But then we have the nice Denali logo there too. Not the GMC logo this time, it's a Denali because it's the Ultimate. You must be reminded that at all times that you spent almost $120,000 on a car, and it does a good job of that. So very excellent there. Heated steering button right on the steering wheel. You have to have it in this price point. If there's anything missing, I'm kind of going to ding you for that, but they have it. So GMC usually thinks about the winter folk like us Canadians, and usually we don't have a problem with missing those kind of crucial aspects. So the gauge cluster screen for the Denali is all digital. In the past, I know they've kind of done analog and digital. This year they just went all digital, and I love it. It's very simple. I have a bunch of different themes that I could change through. I could change through every single piece of information that's on this screen. I have a heads-up display that I could change some of the information that's on there too. It's just really great. It's great to be a driver in this car. I just took it for a road trip, and I could have my navigations here, and I could see what song's playing right in the middle, as well as what speed I'm going. I just love that customizability, that like duality of everything in here when I'm doing long distance road trips and you don't want to have to stop or do anything like that. Now over on my left hand side, I do have quite a bit of controls. I have a 360-degree camera button, which you can turn on at any speed and leave on and pretty much drive with that. It's kind of fun to have your front facing camera on and just watch the guy in front of you through your infotainment. It's little things like that that can kind of entertain the driver when you're doing it. We don't have Super Cruise, so you do have to drive the car yourself in this case. And then also with the buttons, I have traction control off, hill descent, climb, the automatic start and stop button, the lane keep assist. I have some info. I have some heads up display controls here where I can change the info. Then I have my drive mode controls, and it has a good proper all-wheel drive system. So I can have auto 4 high, 2 low, and 4 low as well. And then on the door here, again, we continue with that open real wood because 120K, it's got to be real wood, cannot be fake. Very, very nice, that baseball glove leather. I'm calling it baseball glove because that's just the word I've deemed for it. There's probably a more legit word for it, but I love the baseball glove leather. Then I also have some memory seat controls here, and then a big Bose speaker. I can see one too there on the passenger door. Massive Bose speaker. They also are here on the headrest. Doesn't make that much of a difference. Not really. I think it just adds to maybe the overall bass sound, but not really too much of a difference. Then I have a gear selector here with the finger things. We saw that when I did the review on the Terrain. This time it's here. It's on the main part of the car, and it's not on the bottom here, but it saves a lot of space, and it's very effective. There's not much lag either, but I wasn't really changing gears too much with speed in this one. The infotainment is a Google RAD infotainment screen, which is the smart way to go about things. I've been saying this for a while, that the auto manufacturers need to handle the car part and let the software companies like Google, stuff like that, handle the software because things will run much smoother. And GMC has adopted that principle. I have the Google Assistant built in. I have Google Maps native built in. This car does have Wi-Fi. It is Wi-Fi enabled, but I'm pretty sure that you can use it anyways. And it's really, really good, really fast, really responsive, has all the Google database, and that's what you want in a car at this price point. You don't have to think about it. Google's there for you. Bang, it's done. We even have a Google News app if you wanted to. Then lower from the infotainment screen, we have physical controls for pretty much everything. All my HVAC controls are all physical. Heated seats, ventilated seats as well. Then you can control the rear climate through the infotainment screen. That we don't mind. They also have theirs, but you could lock it, unlock it, let them do what they want. Then we have some nice open wood again. I love this. It's not matte black, so it's not going to get fingerprinty. It doesn't get damaged. Opens nice to a wireless charger. The one gripe I'll tell you about the wireless charger though is that if you have a big phone, it tends to move around, so it tends to stop charging. So I actually had to use the wire this week to keep everything nice and charged, but it's still there, so I'll take that. You also have dual zone automatic climate control. That's great too. Nice cup holders there. And then a little nice feature, when we come here, I have a box for the headsets. That's what that is. And then there's a nice storage here, but it's like, as soon as I got in the car, I thought, okay, this is maybe not enough storage. So I pressed this button right up here, and look at this magic. It does encroach on your passengers just a little bit, but it also brings their cup holders closer to them, so they don't have to lean forward. They can just use their arm. Again, 120,000, that's what we need. So I have a little drawer here that I could pull out and put maybe some papers or whatever, you know, maybe some cash, because I'm assuming if you have this car, you just carry straight up, like, you know, maybe you got like $2,000 in there. You know what I mean? Why not? And then you have some nice storage here if you wanted to keep that back there, and you can still use it as an armrest even if it's far back. But I can press this button and you can kind of adjust it to how you want. It doesn't have to be in a certain place, and it won't move when you're driving either, which is great. So let's get on to how the driver's seat feels. You can see that again, it has the ultimate badge embroidered into the seat, and then we also have the Denali Mountains, as well as on here it's all open wood. We actually have the coordinates to the Denali Mountains. If you're ever curious, you want to put those coordinates into your Google Map system and actually go to the Denali Mountains, you can do that. But if you don't want to do that, you can look at the nice little outline of them inside your car on the seats, literally everywhere. Now these seats also come with massaging features for the driver and for the passenger. So this car is good also. I keep saying it's great for the road trip, but it's also good when you're just waiting in the car. This week I was waiting in the car a little bit, and I was just able to sit back, go on my phone, get a massage from the car, no problem. And your passenger, while you're driving, you can get your massage going. And it's also, you can like inflate different parts of the seats too, that, like, you know, they'll hold you tighter, or let you, maybe you're a bit of a bigger person, so you can like remove the inflation on the bolstering of the seats, and that's really nice. Again, worth the price in that sense. I think you kind of have to have all that extra stuff. If you're gonna buy this type of car, you need that extra stuff. So there you go. So with all that info, with all that, you know, there's so much stuff to cover with this car. There's so many features, and I want to make sure that you know absolutely all of it. With all that said, let me get this thing on the road and let's see how it drives. So I'm on my way back, taking a road trip from Montreal to Ottawa, and this is where the Yukon Denali really shines. I think it is meant for road trips. I think it's meant for maybe even a longer road trip than just to go from Montreal to Ottawa. The fuel economy is one of the things that dropped. I was at a 16 when I started just doing highway driving and city driving, you know, but then when you go to only highway, it goes to a 10. It drops all the way to 10 liters per 100 kilometer for your road trip, and that's good because you want great fuel economy during a road trip, and that was like almost my Elantra level, so you know what, we'll take that. The other thing that I found is I did have kind of a full car most of the time. So when you have a full car and you're traveling with people, well, those people come with luggage, and then the trunk space isn't that big because you're compromising a little bit for that third row. But if you're not filling the car up fully with people, then you're really not gonna have that problem. You can fold those seats down and it's gonna be completely fine. So actually on the way over to Ottawa, we had some like strange weather. It kept snowing and then raining, and then, you know, the car handled it fine driving wise, but the safety features started to shut off. Like I couldn't use my adaptive cruise control. The digital mirror that I have here was good, but I had to keep washing it over and over again. It would get like really filmy and really like grainy because of the raindrops and then ice that was trying to freeze over it, which was surprising. I didn't expect GMC to have that problem because they test their cars so heavily, but I don't know, it could have just been that certain weather condition with the changing is so unpredictable that it just froze up all the systems in here. But you know, I just had to keep washing the camera, and it did kind of do the job. I never had to turn the camera off, which is good because I do like driving with that digital camera, and it's fun to have with the road trip because you can see all 3 lanes, you know, behind you, and that's kind of important. But But yeah, it handled the ever-changing weather very well on the road trip. We were safe the whole time, absolutely no problem. So there you go. I'll throw it back to my past self, and we'll talk about the rest of the GMC Yukon Denali. All right, so inside driving the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate. That's a whole big sentence for a whole big car. And you know, this week has been fun so far. I still have a couple of days left with it. Now, just doing general driving like I do, I use these cars as my daily driver. So take it to work in the morning, take it home at nighttime, park it in the driveway, and it's crazy. I mean, you know, I don't live in a fancy house by any extent. I live in a very normal house, but this car, for the people that know, for my neighbors and stuff like that, they're gonna start to think that I deal drugs, especially next week when I bring home the Escalade. They are not going to understand what's going on because I keep, you know, 3 vehicles in a row that, if you kind of know cars, and some of them I know do, they haven't said anything to me yet, you know, these vehicles are expensive. Like this one, as tested, is like $114,000. So we're like in the market of taking out another mortgage just for your car, which is insane. But if you are in the price point of the $100,000 plus range and you find yourself needing a Yukon or a massive 3-row luxury vehicle like this, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Oh no, sir. This interior is great. The way that it drives is great. The air suspension, the magnetic dampening is all really, really great for the Yukon. It's got a really good 4-wheel drive system. I haven't tested it in snow. You know, we can say that's an unfortunate thing, but I'm tired of it, I'll be honest with you. So I'm glad that I did not get to test this in snow, but it's one of those ones that I always say, you're dumb if you get it stuck. I don't think you can, and I don't think you will. And even if you do, well, you'll be comfortable anyways. It's got heated seats, heated steering, and like literally everything you could ever want inside a 3-row luxury SUV. I like the design, like I said in the interior tour. Like, I just like the fact that there's nice stuff to look at all around the cabin, and it's kind of like a low profile thing. Like I mentioned, the Escalade is like such high class, high quality baller status, and maybe people don't like that, but you still want to have all the comforts that $100,000 plus brings you. Well, then you're looking at the Yukon Denali. So now, I did mention that there is a couple drive modes, and the weird thing is that I have my light selector right next to my drive mode selector, so I have to be careful here and actually use the right one. But I have the sport mode, I have an off-road mode, and then you of course have a towing mode, because you can use this car for just about anything. Maybe the performance side. I'm going to test it. I'm going to get down to the hill. I am in a little bit of traffic, so you're going to get a little bit of a rolling test, but you know, it's not one of those cars where I care about performance so much, so that's okay that we're going to get a little bit of a rolling performance here. So I'm going at about like 60 km. I'm going to punch it and catch up to the guy in front of me really fast, because that's no problem. You know, you are looking at the sky when you do accelerate, when you do give this thing the full beams. It sounds really good though. It actually sounds better than the Wagoneer. You know, it would be cool to see them maybe make like a V version and like completely blow out the exhaust and, you know, deafen everybody when you press the gas even the slightest. That would be really cool to see. But again, like I always say, no problem getting around slow traffic. I was comfortable doing that the whole time. You know, obviously taking turns and stuff, the steering is going to be dead. It's not a car that you're going to take to the track. It's a car that you're going to tow your track toy to the track. That's a whole sentence. Hopefully it makes sense. But I always feel like I wish you guys could be in the car and feel these performance tests with me and really hear your in-person opinion. But for this car, at least, I kind of have, you know, maybe a little bit of an interesting analogy. If you want to feel what it's like to go full beams in a GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate, it's pretty much the equivalent of running down your street as fast as you can while lighting a $50 bill on fire. Because I feel like every time I do that, it's the equivalent of just setting money on fire. Because the fuel economy, I'll tell you right now, I've done about 250 kilometers so far, and I'm like nearing the end of the week, and I have a 15.8 liter per 100 kilometer fuel economy. It's a little bit better than what the Wagoneer was. I kind of expected lower. Again, I don't drive these cars crazy. I drive them like they're mine. I drive them exactly how you would use them in the real world, because in the real world, you're not going to be pushing and drifting a 3-row luxury SUV. You just don't do that. It's just not a thing. So I don't do that, and my fuel economy is still bad. So maybe I'm a lead foot and I have no idea, but there you go. All right, so let's do final thoughts for the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate. Overall, I don't think that if you're in the market for a 100K vehicle like this and you're by yourself, again, like I said with the Wagoneer, I just think there's probably way better options, maybe a little bit more fun options in that 100K range for the car, especially if you're single. But you know, if you have a big family or you just really like big boy SUVs and you don't really like all the flashiness that comes with an Escalade, then the Yukon is the absolute way to go. If you made it this far in the video, you make sure you subscribe. You absolutely have to. The bigger we get, the more opportunities that me and Niall will get. Maybe even in the future, if we get invited to certain things, hopefully it would be nice, you know, we could do those things together, and that's a great way to have both of us on the channel. So we can only do that by you subscribing, by you pushing that like button so that we get in the YouTube algorithm. I think that's how it works. So there you go. But before I ramble all day, I think I can make a podcast out of this car, but we won't do that because nobody wants to hear anybody talk for that long. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we will see you in the next review. Take care. Bye.